Well, hey there guys, how's it going? So we have a interesting one today. This is a Nissan with a radio delete. This is how I feel a lot of you people would like to order your cars without the factory radio. Nissan used to do this in their cheaper cars. Let's go take a look at it. We're outside right now because Fernando blocked the door. He's working on a service we had real quick. A lot of you guys, you're like, hey, my radio won't do this, my radio won't do that. This person here has a 9903 HD radio stop working. Well, it would work, but it would just take like, what do you think, like 15 minutes for it to actually grab a signal? We have the old unit right here. It's a 9903. We're gonna go ahead and pull this out. It's an Exelon, so it has a 2-year warranty. They're just gonna pay the difference to upgrade to the 9904. Now, we did a couple things to troubleshoot it because we just didn't want to be like, hey, it doesn't work, let's put a new radio in, because that's not totally necessary. Sometimes there's something wrong with the car. On a Jeep, it has this mast antenna. Sometimes they go bad. So the first thing we did was we swapped out the antenna adapter. So we put a new antenna adapter in. Then we tried a new antenna altogether. We have a test antenna that we use. So we just plugged the test antenna in and nothing happened. Nothing happened. Worked exactly the same. So at that point, we know it's not the car's antenna. We know it's not our antenna adapter. It must be the radio. So through process of elimination with those simple tests, we're able to figure out that it just had a bad HD tuner. It happens. He's gonna wrap this up, but because he did this, he blocked the bay. We had to keep it outside because we had to test the FM antenna, and that really doesn't work well inside. And he's got the dash all parts. There's no reason to pull the truck forward. It'll just get in the way. It's no big deal. We have this guy here. Let's go in and take a look at it. Well, here we go. There we go. Look at that. No radio. So let's go ahead and get this out. First thing we need to do is check and see if they actually have speakers in here, because some of these radio deletes, they actually put speakers in the car. We need to find that out so we can properly quote this guy out. All right, so we actually changed locations. We're inside the bay now. The heat was way too much for this. I think this was getting too hot. As you guys know, we've talked about Nissans before. These things just love to break apart. So we brought it inside to let it cool down a little bit. So now we're gonna go ahead and try to get this top piece off again. Go. Now with Nissan, every single Nissan has an airbag light. Do not turn on the key while this is unplugged. It will trigger the airbag light in the dash. We're worried about it, so we go ahead now and just remove it from the panel and plug it back in while we're working on it. All right, so we have our antenna, which is a positive, and we have our plug with a bunch of wires. So let's get a tone generator and see what this thing has. So we have a front speaker, we have a rear speaker, 2 rear speakers, and 2 front speakers. So this car has speakers. We're good there. Take a look at the antenna again real quick. All right, so this also has the amplified antenna wire attached to it. So we're gonna need to make sure, we'll show you that in a minute. We're gonna make sure to hook that up. Since we're right here in the car, let's go ahead and check the plug. Black wire here, there is no black wire on the other side of it, just like a Nissan. So we're gonna have to get an external ground point, which is no problem. There's a huge bar back here that we can bolt into. Does not have a remote turn on, so we're not gonna need that. So everything else is good. There's an accessory. Let's take this over to the bench. I'm gonna go talk to the customer real quick and let them know that we can just put in the radio. They're not going to need speakers. So what we're putting in this, as you saw, the harness is the 7552. We're going to need the BAA 36 antenna adapter. And what we were talking about when we were just in there is this guy here has a power antenna turn on because it's an amplified antenna. So we want to make sure we hook this up because there is a wire on the other side of it. And then the kit we're going to use is the BK NDK 736 Nissan Versa kit. And it is open because I was already checking it to make sure it was the right kit. It's a single DIN we're putting in. This guy just wants a radio, so he's getting this guy right here, the KDC 152. This is Kenwood's entry-level CD player with an aux jack. All right, so this kit is a multi-kit, meaning it has 2 different brackets for it. You just want to compare it to whatever you took out. In this case, it looks like it's going to be this bracket here. All right, now what you want to do is snap the kit together. In the back here, there's 2 screws. It comes with a bag of screws. And that's pretty much it for kit assembly. This one's a nice one. So we have the radio that we're gonna put in. Now this is one that gets mounted from behind, so we don't need the trim and we don't need the cage. She's all mounted. Let's set it aside and take a look at the wiring harness. Now this is just a standard Kenwood wiring harness. The one thing about Kenwood that is kind of annoying, and I'm gonna say it's kind of really annoying, is that on these harnesses they have a amp turn on and a power antenna. For some reason, thought it was okay to make a harness that was universal for all their radios. What I mean by that is the power antenna connection right here. Not all the Kenwood radios had a power antenna output. It's got a wire, you hook it up, but there's no output on the other side of it. So you get it into the car and you're like, why isn't the power antenna working? Or why isn't the amplified antenna working? Oh, well, because this is just a generic harness that Kenwood puts with all the radios. And of course it doesn't say in the instruction manual that this is dead in this particular model. It became habit to just not even hook it up because you'd have to go back after the fact. Long story short, if you're doing a single DIN and it has that amplified antenna and you need it, check it. I got a new set of pin extraction tools I wanted to test out, see how they do. It's a set of 5. It's a pretty cool set. We have a link to them, of course, in the description. You can go to dnftooldrawer.com. That's Dean and Fernando's tool drawer, where we put links to all the tools we use in our videos. Alright, so what we've done is gone ahead and remove the ground wire because there isn't one in the car. The other wire that we don't need is the remote turn on because there isn't one in the car as well. Now all we need to do is marriage these two up, put this in the car, and we're going to meter to see if this actually has an output. You guys have seen me hook up enough of these. Let's just get into the car. Alright, let's check it out Fernando. Hey buddy.
How are you?
Pretty good. Ooh, oh Jesus, now you blurred the lens.
Right in my face, man.
Alright, lens is clean. Alright, so we got the new radio hooked up.
Yes, sir.
How's the HD working?
It's perfect.
Perfect?
Yeah.
So we definitely had a bad HD tuner, right?
Yeah.
There you go. No company is 100%, but Exelon 2-year warranty. That's the difference. 2-year warranty. A lot of you guys ask, Exelon 2-year warranty. Alright, so we have our harness in the car. Gone ahead and grounded it, like we said, to the big bar in the back. We're gonna go ahead and plug in our radio. Turn on the key. Go through the setup real quick. Alright, so the radio is on. Now what we want to do is take our digital multimeter, put it to DC, which is the line with the dotted lines beneath it. Go ahead and attach one end to ground. We just want to check it on something we know is a constant first. We know it's working. Now we'll go ahead and test remote turn on. We have power on remote turn on. Let's test the power antenna. And there we go. We have nothing on power antenna. Wonderful. So if I would have just not known, gone ahead and hooked this up, my amplified antenna wouldn't be turning on and I'd have crappy FM reception. So for this, we're gonna go ahead and just hook it up to remote turn on and we'll be done with it. All right, this one is done.
On to the next one.
Yeah. What are we doing, Fernando?
Right now, I'm just standing here.
Yeah? You strike a scary pose. All right, so what we have today is something we've done a couple times before. We're adding the Echo Master backup camera to the factory Dodge Ram little tiny screen. This is a handle cam. Let's get to it. You guys haven't seen it before, that is. If you've seen it, well, just fast forward to the next segment. So to keep all the guesswork about what comes in the box, let's open it up and take a look. First thing is the cool handle cam. This comes as a kit. The kit is the FCDRAM-PRO. So you can buy it all as a kit, or if you just want to do the cool RAM cam, it's the PCAM-RAM, and that's going to get you into this guy. Let's go and take a look. For those of you that haven't seen it and might be interested in it. They have improved the kit since we originally did the video. They went ahead and took our advice and loomed over the wire. That was really nice of them. This is this unit here. It is molded off of the factory, so it looks really nice, and it's a good fit. I'm gonna give this to Fernando and he's gonna meet you guys in the back and show you how to get all that apart. And then in the bottom of the box, we have this guy here. And there again, if you wanna just do this and add your own camera, this is the BCI CH41. It comes with a cool brain box with some dip switches and a really big T-harness. And let's not forget, of course, an instruction manual. Now the dip switches are talked about right here. So this is more than just adding in a backup camera. This will also do navigation unlock. So if you have the bigger screen with the navigation and you can't set it while you're driving, this will give you navigation unlock. This will also allow you to retain your rear media, but the only thing we're worried about right here is reverse camera, which is dip switch 1. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then like always, we're gonna put a little piece of tape over this just so we know we've done it and we don't have to worry about them getting bumped. Now another cool feature about this is right here on page 4. If you want to do front camera and 2 other cameras, if you buy the VS41, it will integrate in with this so that you can add in those other cameras. We're not doing that today. All we're doing is a backup camera. Now each one of these is labeled. What we want to do is unplug the camera one because we're going to need to plug into ours here. So So at the end of the harness, it has a bunch of labeled wires that it talks about right here on page 1. You have what's called right camera output, left camera output. And these are for if you're adding the multi-camera system with the optional VS41. You have program 2 output, program 3 output, and program 1 output, which is a blue, pink, and a blue, white corresponding. What those all do is, like right here it says program 1 blue 12 volts, program blue white 12 volts, program 3 12 volts. To know what those are, you go to the last page, which is the BCI feature menu table. And you have, of course, default programming, which is going to be the first one here, and then you have other things that you can adjust them to. What we're looking at is program 1 because we want reverse, and this will provide a 12 volt trigger when the vehicle is placed in reverse. We want to use the program 1 wire, and we're not going to be using any of these other wires. So what we want to do is just cap them off so that they don't hurt anything. So now we just need to go ahead and plug this in. Make sure this is good. Pull on it, make sure it plugs in nice and tight. We have our pigtail that we're gonna plug our new camera into. We have the RCA we're gonna plug our new camera into. Now what we have to do is we have to go into the car, get that factory radio out, plug this in, shut the doors, make sure the windows are up, arm it, and let it set for 15 minutes so that the computer in the car can resync and recognize this. All right, so we have 3 T20 Torxes that we need to remove. 2 here and 1 in here. Now we just need to pull the dash kit out. We don't need to actually unplug anything. We just need to tip this front panel down. So we'll go ahead and put a little protection here. And now we have 4 7mm bolts we need to take out to slide the radio. So it's easier if you unplug this one little USB so you can get your thumb in here. Go ahead and pull the master harness out. And then we'll go ahead and remove Sirius XM and then the actual FM. Now we can go ahead and plug this guy into here. Make sure it's seated nice and good. We're gonna go ahead and unplug this for right now and reroute our wires down into the other side of this bracket here. Basically into this area. Plug it back in. And then we'll go ahead and reinstall the radio. Make sure to pull your camera RCA over here to the side so that you can get to it. Go ahead and put 1 screw back in here. All right, so the real reason why we're putting 1 screw is just to hold it in place while we go ahead and lock up the car. So let's roll up the windows. All right, so we're gonna get out and we're gonna arm it.
Okay, so now inside, it's a 2 8mm that we have to remove. Okay, so now that we have this one out, we're gonna go and take it to the bench and swap the lock to the new one. Okay, so now that we have it over here, we're gonna go and take the lock out. It's 2 8mm, same with the whole handle. And then we're gonna go and add some loom just to protect the wire. Let's take a look how the camera looks like. Yeah, cool. Okay, so now that we have our handle prep and ready to go, let's go and put it in. And before you screw it in, make sure the lock works and the handle open and close.
All right, so right here in the hitch is where the factory disconnect is. So when you're running this, you want to make sure that you put your connection point in the same basic area, because sometimes, you know, you need to take the hitch off and you don't want to, you know, put a connection somewhere other than where it's easily accessible. So this just makes it into this little door right here. We're gonna zip tie the wire up into the factory harness. We'll make our connections here, and then what we're gonna do though is we are gonna put some shrink wrap over these because we want to prevent corrosion, because we realize most people aren't gonna take these off. But if you have a pocket knife, you can cut right through the shrink wrap we're gonna put on here. All right, so now what we want to do is test and see if this actually works. All right, so the screen worked. Now the one thing about this camera that they still haven't addressed is the length of the camera wire. It's too short. It's great if you just have a short bed, but if you have a normal extended cab like this, it falls about 4 feet too short. We're gonna go ahead and connect our wires up here, and then we'll run them back and we'll meet up somewhere here in the floor sill with it. Other than that, this is an awesome product. So when we have to do trucks like this, that we know, like this is a construction truck, we know this is going to be in some of the worst conditions possible. We know that these guys don't care about their trucks. It's going to get wet. We like to use marine connectors, which are basically butt connectors with silicone and shrink wrap built into them. But if we're going underneath the carpet like this, and the running board here, we like to use those type of connectors. We haven't had any problems with them. Go with what we know works. All right, we're all done. Let's give it a test. We have a backup image. Another one done, Fernando.
On to the next one.
That's right. Yay.